The purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to enter an incomplete listing into FlexMLS, which is the Maine MLS that we use. An incomplete listing is what FlexMLS calls it, and it is comparable to a partial listing in Paragon or NARIN, which is the New Hampshire MLS. So to get started, you log in. This is going to be the MLS screen when you first log in, and then make sure that you are in up here. You should be able to change who you're entering it. I think they call it impersonating. So you should be able to change who you're impersonating. So right here it shows Michelle LaCroix as Mark Zoller. We want to be entering them under Mark Zoller. So you want to be sure that you're using this MLS profile. So once you are in the correct MLS profile, you are going to come down here and you're going to go to add listing. The Maine MLS system, in my opinion, is a little bit less intuitive, so be patient with me if I have to fumble through a couple of these things. But to start, you're going to select the property type. And this particular property that we're entering is a single family home in Sanford, Maine. And actually I'm going to update this while I have it. So I've already put everything into .loop, and there we go. All right, so loop is now named properly. So 809 Main Street in Sanford. This is a single family home. Everything is already in here. So here we're going to pick residential. Listing member, it's going to autofill as Mark Zoller because we're under the correct profile. If there was another member of the team who was listing it with Mark, we could put them in under co-listing member. This one is Mark's listing, so he's the only one who's going to be on it. This is a regular listing, or a parent listing is almost always going to be what you select. Child listing, I don't know that I've ever entered one into the MLS. That being said, it would be something like if we had a development, for instance, where the homes are, maybe going to be very similar or something like that. We might do like a regular listing or a parent listing with maybe the spec house, and then enter a few of the available lots as child listings. So that's an example. We're not going to have to do that here, but this one is going to be entered as a regular listing. So we've got that. Now you go to the next tab, which is the address field. The property subtype is single family residence. Similar to how you would enter something into New Hampshire MLS, the place that you can find this. I'm actually going to reorder these really quick so we can open up the documents that we're going to need easily. So we've got the listing agreement, property disclosure, lead paint, arsenic, and at one point I had a tax map. Did I forget to put that in here? I think I forgot to upload it. Sorry, I'm just checking really quick. Okay, I don't know what I did with that. So we'll just pull a new one real quick because we're actually going to need that. So Sanford, Maine, GIS. So if you ever need to find one, you can usually Google the town, the state, and either the words assessor, tax map, or GIS. Typically it will bring you to wherever you can get the tax map for that town. Each town is a little bit different, so unfortunately there's not like one universal place you can go to get them. So here we're going to go 809 Maine. And now it highlights this for us, which is very nice because it's got measurements and everything, which is what we're going to need it for. And I am just going to take a quick screenshot. And then, actually I don't want that. I'm going to do that again. I don't want that. I don't want that showing up. How do I get rid of that? There we go, that works. Okay, so now I am just going to turn that into a PDF. And we're going to put that in MLS, or I'm sorry, into .loop. And now we really do have everything we need. Okay, so when we're entering a listing, same as in New Hampshire, we're going to need the listing agreement. We're going to need the property disclosure. We are going to need the deed, the property card, the tax map, the tax bill, and I always open the utilities just to be safe. And actually this new listing form will list which appliances are going with the property, which is a field to enter at some point as well. So I'm going to open all of those up so that we have what we need to enter this listing. All right, so the first question, and the whole reason I went off on that tangent, was because we are looking for the property subtype, which you are going to find on the property card. And I'm scrolling and scrolling, and eventually .loop is going to catch up, I think. There we go. Deed. Another page of the deed, and I think now we're getting to the property card. All right, so this one has a couple different versions of the property card. This particular version is a little bit small, so it might be kind of hard to read in a video. You can see right here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but you can see right here that it says single family, so that tells you what kind of the property, the subtype of the property is. On this one as well, use description, it says single family. So that's where you would find that information. It's going to be on the property card. So we've got subtype here, single family residence, and then we put in the address information. So it was 809 Maine. One of the things about Maine MLS is it separates all the different parts of the street address. So if there was a north, south, east, west, anything like that, that's going to go here in pre-direction. Then you're going to have whatever comes after that, and then the street type here goes in as a separate, which is street in this situation. So road, way, circle, all that stuff. Sometimes not so much in Maine or New Hampshire, but I know sometimes there's even a second direction in an address. That would be where it goes here. Under county, this is in Sanford, Maine, which is York County. The place that you can find that is again on, actually I don't think that's on the property card, but it is on the listing agreement. So you can go up to the listing agreement, and you'll see here municipality is the town that it's in, and then county of, and it should list the county there. So town, we just talked about, is Sanford. Again, you can find that on the property card, the listing agreement. That technically the town should be all over the place. Zip code is actually not going to be on the listing agreement. I would typically look for a property card, or I would just Google the address and see what the zip code is. So in this case, it's 04073. This part gets a little bit tricky in Maine MLS. If you get the tax ID right, it will auto-populate some information. Sometimes it's really hard to identify exactly what tax ID they're looking for. So sometimes I do this where it talks about if you don't know the tax ID, just enter it this way. I've definitely done that before because I can't figure out what they want for a tax ID. Let's look at the property card. The property card is where that would come from. Look at the property card here and see if we can identify what they're looking for in this situation. So it's typically going to be something like around the top. It might be this vision ID, so I'm going to try that, the 5010. That also might not be it, but we're going to try it. So 5010, and then you can hit populate tax data. It's going to give you this little pop-up, and Sanford 032 and 26. Does that look right? So it looks like that might be right based on this map, block, and lot info. So we're going to go with that for now. We'll see pretty quickly if it's wrong. So there's that. And now that's all for this tab. We can go on to the next tab, which is Maine Fields. When you click on Maine Fields, the first thing it wants you to do is geolocate the property. What we can do here, so you can see this is right on Main Street. This is where we're going to look at one of the places we're going to look at that tax map that we grabbed. Maybe, if it wants to cooperate. There we go. Okay, so we can see right here. Let's see, is this? I can't grab a big enough section, but we can see Charles Street right here, separated here. So we're going to go back over here, find Charles Street. Okay, so this pin actually dropped wrong. You can see Charles Street here, and it was 2 over from Charles Street, and this is even numbered 809. So actually should be right here. So we're going to click that, and then you can move the pin, and then you hit use this location. So now here we are on Maine Fields. A lot of this information that's required is going to be based on whatever subtype we chose, which is single family home. So the first question is this property on leased land? The answer in this case is no. Where you're going to find that is on the property disclosure. This is almost always going to be when it's either a condo or a property, like a mobile home that's part of a park. On a single family home, I can't think of any situations where you would have leased land. So the answer here is going to be no. Book and page. So that is something you can find out on the listing agreement. If the original deed is already in the loop, which it is in this situation, you can get it right off the deed. So we can see right here it's book 16161 and page 331. So listing agreement you can get on the deed, and it should be on the property card. All right. For map and lot, that is something that you're going to find on the property card. And again, because this one's so little, it's listed right up here at the top, but that one's so little, we're going to go look at this other property card, which is a little easier to read. So it tells you right here, the map is 0L26, the block is 0032, and the lot is all zeros. So we are going to do, well, I already forgot it. Map 0L26. The block is 0032 and the lot is all zeros. Okay, now for zoning, that's also going to be on the property card. Zone right here is listed as UB, so we can enter that there. Zoning overlay, if we're being entirely honest, I have no idea what that means, so I always pick no. Neighborhood association you don't need to use because it's not a required fee. A required field. Association is going to be something that should be on the property disclosure. I know in this situation that there is no association, but right here, section 5 in general information, where it asks if this property is subject to or has the benefit of any encroachments, easements, yada, 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 homeowners associations. That's where it would say yes if there was an association. So here we're going to select no. Entrance fee is again something that should be on the property disclosure. So just something to be aware of there. School district, this one's dicey. Don't worry too much about getting this one filled in. There are a lot of towns have multiple school districts, and it's really hard to identify which students from the town go where. In this case, I think Sanford only has one. That being said, a lot of them also have these weird names. It's like MSAD and RSU, so I can't even keep track of what the name of them are. So don't worry too much about filling this out. If there's not something obvious like right here, Sanford Public Schools, don't worry about that. Tax amount and tax year. I'm just going to double check that against the tax bill that we have. That being said, the only tax bill I was able to find was from 2019. So if that amount is slightly different, I'm probably going to still leave it. So this amount says $4,096.53. This is a little bit higher, but it's for the new tax year. It means the taxes probably went up. I'm actually going to leave that. I'm gonna double check and see. Let's see, it says it's assessed at 217 there. Another thing that you can do is you can look at that assessed value. So right here where it says it's $217,600, you can also Google Sanford, Maine property tax rate. You can also Google mill rate, MIL rate. So that's something that you can always check on, but we'll see if we can find a 2020 rate really quick. Okay, right here actually it says the current mill rate for 2020-2021 is $20.16. So using that information, so that's $20.16 per $1,000 of value that the home is worth. So if we wanted to double check and make sure that the information we have for taxes is correct, we would do the $20.16, and then we would multiply that by the assessed value, how many thousands of assessed value there is. So it's 217,600. So we're going to multiply it by 217.6. So that gives us $4,386.81, which I think was pretty much spot on. 2,387. Yeah, so this amount was correct, so I'm glad we double checked that. HERS certified. I've never worked with a home that was HERS certified. We will definitely give you that information if it's something that applies. It's not a very common thing in this area. For contract information, status for here is going to be active. We don't really post coming soon here in Maine because there's a whole bunch of additional paperwork that needs to be completed. So it's going to be active. Up here is where we determine that it doesn't go live yet. So until we're ready to go live, we use the Save Incomplete button, which will save everything that you've input so far. So there's active. Comp listing, this is going to be if we're only entering it as a comparable. We've already sold it, for instance, and we're just entering it. It was off market when we sold it, and we're just entering it so that the team gets credit for it. That would be a comp listing. So here it's going to be no. The listing agreement, excuse me. So this is going to give you this message about how this is the actual date on your listing agreement. The date we use here is the date that is on that we're going to go live in MLS. It's a source of conflict in this area, but a lot of agents don't feel that our sellers should be penalized as far as days on market. It shouldn't be penalized on days on market just because, a listing may have taken a couple weeks to get on for whatever reason. So here we're going to use whatever the date we're going live is. On this one, the plan is to go live on Monday, so that's going to be February 1st. So I'm going to put that date in for now. It's going to yell at me. Maybe I have to pick today's date. Well, we'll see later if I can save it. The expiration date is going to be off of the listing agreement, so we're going to scroll all the way up. And on the main listing agreement, the dates are actually on the second page. So You can see here it was signed, the beginning of the term was on the 25th of January, and it goes until July 25th. So we are going to pick July 25th here. And then list price, again, comes off of the listing agreement. That's on the first page. And the list price here is $275. Okay, so next section, we're getting into property information. It is asking if it is surveyed and if it is seasonal. Both of those pieces of information are going to be on the property disclosure. They keep changing the property disclosure, so it might take me a minute to find it. I believe it's further down. Okay, here we go. Right towards the bottom. Has all or a portion of this property been surveyed? The answer is yes, and apparently that is available. So the answer to that question is yes. As far as whether or not it's seasonal, I thought that was on the disclosure, but I am not seeing it. Typically, we'll at least put a note in there if it's seasonal. Some things that would make a property seasonal is certain types of septic systems are not rated for year-round use, and also if there was no heating system. This particular property has a heating system, and it's actually on public septic or public wastewater disposal. So those are two good indications that the property is not seasonal, although it doesn't specifically say one way or another on the disclosure. So we're going to put no there. Short sale, it is not. We will tell you if it is. Deed conveyance type offered. This is not something that is required to be disclosed in Maine, so we actually don't put that information in there. It is required in New Hampshire. It's not required in Maine. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. These questions you can pretty much skip unless for some reason, like if it is a bank-owned REO, again, a bank will be our client. We will let you know. Two detached houses on one lot. That's a very uncommon situation. So these are all kind of weirder situations that you'll be made aware of. For these number of room questions, that is actually going to be on the property disclosure, or I'm sorry, the property card. So I'm going to go to the easier to read one again. It has 3 bedrooms. It has 1 bathroom. Does not, unfortunately, list the number of rooms. Let me see if that's on, let's see if we can figure that out on this smaller. Let's see. It doesn't say total rooms here either. So we're going to have to make an educated guess. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. We're going to do some guessing here. Sometimes you'll end up with a situation like this and you may have to update it once you see pictures, or I may have to update it once I see pictures. Certain rooms don't count when you're trying to figure out room count. So like a bathroom does not count as a room. Excuse me. We know there's 3 bedrooms, so there's going to be a minimum of 3 rooms. I'm assuming that there is going to be a kitchen, maybe a dining room, and then maybe also a living room. So I'm going to go with 6. I think 6 is a pretty safe number for a 3-bedroom house. We know it's got 3 bedrooms, fireplaces. This is one of those things that Maine recently added. Without seeing pictures of the inside of the house, it's going to be tough to know. Sometimes you'll see this listed on the property disclosure in this heating section. But this says there's no chimneys, so that's a good indication that there's no fireplace. It doesn't specifically say that there's no fireplace, but there's no chimney. So we're going to put 0 fireplaces. Full baths in the basement. So this is another kind of challenging part without seeing the pictures. I make educated guesses and then I update it when we get pictures if I need to. I'm gonna go ahead and guess that this is an unfinished basement in this property, and that's based on, I think there's a section about the basement in here. All right, so this doesn't actually ask if the basement is finished. Okay, so then we are gonna look. All right, I don't see it here either. Down here it does say that the basement is unfinished. That would be my assumption here. So we are gonna go ahead and assume that there's no bathrooms in the basement. So with one bathroom in a 2-story house, I am going to make a guess that the bathroom is on the first level, but I'm really not sure on that. It could be on the second level. So I'm gonna put 1 on the first level here for now. And then it'll just be something we have to update once we see pictures possibly. We know there's only 1 bathroom, so we're gonna put 0 on all the other ones because we're saying that the 1 bathroom is on the first floor. Color is not something that we typically fill out, only because people can kind of see that for themselves once we have pictures. Year built is 1902. That came from the property tax card. It auto-populated because we did that. We pulled in that tax information. Square foot finished above grade. So that is again going to be from the property card. Once again, this card is a little bit difficult to read. So let's look at this one. So this says living area 1726. We can probably guess that that's the correct amount. We can also see down here, hopefully you can see, so it says that there is 974 square feet finished on the first floor. There is 752 square feet finished on the upper story. And if you add those together, I believe you get that 1726 that they indicated down here. So that is the number we're going to use for square footage. It is all above grade, which means it's above the ground. Below grade would be like if there was a finished basement, which we already checked, this one doesn't have, so we're going to put 0. Square foot source, I do like to put that in because we did put in square footage. We're going to say that that is public record because it came from the town, anyone can get it. And now, as far as a garage, you can't see it in the little picture they provide here, but if I remember correctly, it talks on one of these cards. Here we go. It talks about it having a garage. So we can't necessarily see it in the picture. I'm having a little bit of trouble deciding what size of a garage it is. It mentioned it on the disclosure too, I noticed. Garage is fully new construction, which unfortunately does not tell me. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here in new structure. So it's definitely good to kind of go through the property card. There's a ton of information on it. This says right here that it's a 2-bay garage. So we know that it's a 2-car garage. So here we can put, yes, it has a garage. Now it wants garage spaces, which is 2. The lot size acres, again, comes from the property card. It's a little bit of a scavenger hunt to figure out where they put it, because again, every town is different. Here we go. So this talks about square feet. We usually put in acres, so down here it converts it to acres. So it's 0.191 acres. So 0.191. Oh, and it actually specifically asks for acres. So 0.191, and again, this is public record, so we're getting it off the property card. We don't have to put in road frontage. I typically like to. That is, again, something that you can get off of the tax map. You can look at this tax map and see that it only has frontage on one road, which is right here. And we can see that it has 62 square feet of road frontage. So over here, road frontage, we're going to put yes. And then it wants to know the amount, so it's 62 feet, and the source of the road frontage is public record. So, owner name here, we typically will leave that blank in Maine. It is something that we put in New Hampshire. Listing agreement, here we always do exclusive right to sell listing agreements. And then under variable rate commission, this is going to be a no. Where you would find that is going to be on the listing agreement. If there is a variable rate commission, you're going to see it mentioned in other conditions. It's going to be something like, if Mark Zoller represents, both the buyer and the seller in a transaction, then our commission will be 4% instead of whatever we took the listing at, something like that. So that's going to be a no. Under buyer agency, we're going to put in 2%. We always leave that at 2%. And here it wants you to select, is it a dollar amount or a percentage? It's a percentage. Subagency, we are leaving blank. We do not cooperate with subagents in Maine or New Hampshire, actually, so that is blank. And for transaction broker, same as buyer agency, it's going to be 2 and then %. Quite honestly, if they can sell our client's home, we don't really care what their relationship with their client is. Our job is to represent our seller. Under remarks, the directions are going to be, I grab the directions the same way I get them in New Hampshire. So I go to maps.google.com. Typically going from like Portsmouth, New Hampshire is a safe bet. So we're going to get directions. We're going to go from Portsmouth, New Hampshire to Sanford, Maine. And honestly, you've been, it's Edmar, you've been doing a great job on putting these directions into New Hampshire, so I think you've got the hang of this, but we can do, so we'll pick this one. So from I-95 north, take exit 19 for Wells, kind of summarizing the directions. And then you're going to follow Maine 109 north. To SB Emery Court in Sanford. So I'm going to look a little bit closer at the map. Sometimes Google Maps does that. A little confused by SB Emery Court because we're trying to get to Main Street. Oh, you know what? We are trying to get to 809 Main Street, and I didn't tell it that. So 809 Main Street in Sanford. Let's try that again, see if it brings us the same way. Okay, looks like it's going to. So we're going to take exit 19, and then you drive down 109 to Main Street in Sanford. That's pretty easy. So coming from that direction, I'm going to zoom in and see if I can determine what side of the road the house is going to be on. So it looks like it'll be on your right. Okay, so remarks. I think I mentioned this in the video about New Hampshire listings. Remarks I generally leave blank until I see pictures. I don't know what to say about a house if I've never seen it. That being said, we do have some remarks that we leave the same every time. I have them copied into a note so I can copy and paste every time. The fields are named slightly differently in Maine and New Hampshire, which is a little bit annoying. But for remarks in Maine, let's see if I can keep this straight. So this is, remarks is going to be the equivalent of, whoops, wrong thing. Remarks in Maine is going to be the equivalent of public remarks in New Hampshire. So I'm going to copy and paste this portion. We put that at the end of the description of all of our listings because if anyone is showing symptoms of COVID specifically, we don't want them coming to our houses. We will arrange for like a virtual showing or something. So I put that in there because I know it's going to be there. Advertising remarks, copy and paste. And the advertising remarks field, it's called the same thing. It's all the way down at the bottom in Maine. So I put that in there, add some spaces because the description is going to go above it. And then notes. So non-public remarks, that's going to go under internal remarks here in Maine. For this particular one, to submit an offer, email Mark. If there is a different agent on the property, they're going to be the email address that we want to put in there. So if Christy or Matt took a listing, we're going to want to update that email address because that's where we want the offer to go. So we've got that. We don't use the showing remarks really because we've put it all into internal. So that's everything in that section. Then we can go to details. This is just mostly a whole bunch of checkboxes. So some of this might be a little bit tough to do without seeing pictures or seeing the property itself. That being said, 809 Main Street, it's right in town in Rochester, or I'm sorry, in Sanford. So if I had to guess, let's see, my guess would be, and actually we can look at the one little picture on the property card and see if that tells us. Doesn't really tell me. I was hoping to see if there were sidewalks. Can't really see if there's sidewalks, but it does look like it's a pretty flat lot. So for this one, I'm going to put level. That really just wants a description of the lot. Small is not an option, so I'm going to go with level. Location, this one is right in town. It's 809 Main Street. If we go back and look at this map, we can see there's little shops right around. I saw that there's a supermarket right here, so this is like right downtown. So that is what we're going to focus on there. So it's downtown. Let's see if there's anything else that sounds really beneficial. Okay, I don't see anything else that really jumps out as like a selling point, so we're going to skip that. For roads, this is Main Street. Anything called a Main Street, you can probably always assume that it's a public road. So we're going to check public there. The other place that you can check is on the property disclosure in the state of Maine. I don't remember what page it is, but we're going to find it. Right here is access by means of a way owned and maintained by the state, a county, or a municipality over which the public has a right to pass. That's their really complicated way of saying, is this a public road? If it says yes, then it's public. If it says no, then it's going to be private. So there's the information there. Transportation, we can skip. Water info, so this property does not have water frontage. You can see that pretty clearly just by looking at a map. Same with the tax map, there's no water anywhere near it, so we can just pick water frontage no, which should gray out several of those boxes. Water view, also a no. Again, you can just see that by looking at the map. There's not really anywhere on the disclosure where that's written down. Recreational water, we're going to skip past that. None of this is required, so we're kind of going to skip it. That being said, this appliances section is one that we like to fill out. That's what I mentioned right at the beginning. We opened up the ZRG new listing form because appliances included is one of the things that the agents are supposed to tell us. So it apparently has a refrigerator and a wall oven. So we can do wall oven and refrigerator and check those off so that people, potential buyers, know what appliances come with the property. Kitchen countertop I'll sometimes fill out after I see pictures, but there's nowhere to have that information aside from that. Style of the home. So that's going to be back on the property card. So we're going to scroll way back up. I said that and watch me be lying. Oh, here we go. Style, conventional. Okay. So that's where you get that information. They're calling this conventional. We can call it conventional. I would also call that like a New Englander type style. So if conventional is not an option, which it does not appear to be, I'm going to go with New Englander here. This is a very typical New England looking house. The kind of the 2 stories. This style is very New England. So that's kind of how I know that. Construction, that is also going to be on the property card. Hopefully. Okay, well, I don't see it. Let's look on this one. So I don't actually see the construction listed anywhere here. That being said, based on when it was built, I would be very surprised if it was anything other than wood frame. So here we're going to go with wood frame. Earth berm is a home that's literally built into a hill, so it's clearly not that. A log home you're going to be able to see pretty easily. Masonry is going to be like a brick home. Mobile and modulars are going to typically be your one-story homes, like mobile homes. Post and beam has a lot of exposed wood on the inside and big, beautiful beams. I love post and beam homes. And obviously I haven't seen the inside of the house yet, but I'm guessing that it's not a post and beam, so maybe I'll be wrong and have to change that. Steel frame is very rare for residential homes. That's usually really more of something you see in a commercial property. And then structural insulated panels, I don't even know where that would be. I've never seen one of those. So I'm kind of using process of elimination here. Basement here, I'm going to put unfinished because I don't know a whole lot more about the basement. We saw that. You'll find that on the property disclosure. Or actually, no, that wasn't on the property disclosure. That was on the property card. But I don't really know anything about it other than that. Basement entry. This is one of those things where I probably am going to have to wait to see the pictures. My guess is going to be the entry to the basement here is either going to be through a bulkhead or an interior door. But I can't see that from the single picture that I have. So let's see. Let's make a guess. A walkout is something you're typically going to see in newer homes, not older homes. I'm going to go with bulkhead for this one. So we'll have to see when we get pictures if I'm right. Foundation, it's not a required field. It's not a bad thing to put on there if we have it. Typically that's going to be on the property card. So let's see if they included it. I am not seeing it, so we may end up leaving that one blank. Foundation. Yeah, I don't see it on here, and I don't want to make a guess. 100 years ago, they could have used a whole bunch of different things for the foundation, so I'm going to leave that blank. Roof, we can tell that was on the property card. Saw that right here, roof cover, so it says asphalt. Let's see, right here, asphalt, so it's going to be asphalt shingles. And actually, F-glass, it's probably fiberglass. So it's actually listing all 3 of those things. So we're going to do composition, fiberglass, and shingle. Just because that's what it says on the property card. On the exterior walls right here, vinyl siding. heating system. This is also on the property disclosure, but it's on this particular property card. It did list it. It's electric baseboard, and the heat fuel is electric. So electric. We're gonna have baseboard. Water heater with electric systems. I don't know this for sure, but with electric systems, a lot of times they have electric water heaters. So I'm just going to assume that. And again, if I need to change it when I learn more information, I will. Cooling on the property disclosure, or I'm sorry, on the property card. Right here, it says AC type none. So we're going to check that off. And then floors, I do believe I saw somewhere. So here it talks about interior floor. It says carpet and hardwood. Might be kind of hard to see because it's teeny tiny. But carpet and wood. So we're going to check that off. Again, sometimes I'll wait until I see pictures for that, but it says it on the property card, so that's what I'm going to go with for now. Under amenities, I'm going to leave pretty much all of this blank because it's not required. A lot of it honestly doesn't even apply. So a lot of this is like energy certifications. It's definitely not going to be anything that you see on something that's not like a brand new home, and even then it's not common in this area. So for the driveway, again, tough to see without the pictures. Typically a house in town like this is going to have a paved driveway, so I'm just going to actually put in paved driveway. Once I see the pictures, if I'm wrong, I would update that. Parking, I have no idea. I'm not even going to try and guess there. And then vehicle storage is a little bit redundant in my opinion, because we already had to answer that it has a garage and that it has a 2-car garage, but we're going to put that it has a 2-car garage. I actually haven't seen it yet, so I don't know if it's attached or detached or any of this other information, so I'm just going to leave it at 2-car garage for now. Electric is going to be something that you find on the property disclosure. So right here it tells us that it has a circuit breaker. That's the only information that we have about the electric, so that's what we're going to put on there, is that it's a circuit breaker. Gas, this one has electric fuel, so there is no gas. That should be listed on the property disclosure. If there is going to be gas, it should be up here under the heating systems and heating sources. But as far as I know, to the best of our knowledge, there's no gas at this house. Sewage, we looked at earlier. That's on the first page of the property disclosure. I lied, it's on the second page. So right here it says wastewater disposal, type of system is public. So we're gonna go, public sewer there. Water, same thing, that one is on the first page. I'm not joking that time. Right here it says public water supply. So here we can do public water. Under showing instructions, this one we're always going to click showing time because that's the showing service that we use. I typically will put sign on property. And if there's anything else that we're aware of, I'll check it off. But like mechanical lockbox, we use a mechanical lockbox. So this is, the big thing is at least making sure showing time is checked off on that one. All right, so now on rooms, I believe, yeah, so this is totally voluntary and we don't really use this section, so you can ignore that. And then under broker distribution, you just want to double check that these 4 are checked off. And we actually are going to check off those 2 as well. Not be used for AVMs, do not allow comments on the internet. So that is everything about entering a listing in Maine. Once you've got that done, you hit save as incomplete and you'll get this message. The incomplete listing has been saved. When you have done that, if you ever stop and then you have to go back to it, it's a little bit hard to find. So I'm going to show you that real quick. Actually, I want to make sure that it really saved. All right, there we go. So you can see here, it's an incomplete listing. So we're going to go back to that main page really quick. And then if you ever need to go back to an incomplete listing that you've started, you have to scroll all the way down here in this bottom panel And I actually think these panels can be moved, so maybe it's somewhere different for you. So just look around for this My Listings panel. And at the bottom of it, you'll see listing maintenance, and you click on incomplete listing, and it'll bring up any incomplete listings that you've done so far. So I might have, actually it looks like maybe you started it. So that's what we got. This is how you enter a listing in FlexMLS for Maine. Any Maine listings that we have, we do enter into Maine MLS and also New Hampshire MLS. For New Hampshire listings, we only enter it into New Hampshire MLS. That's really the main MLS that we use, so we get everything in there. If you have any questions, definitely let me know, and thank you so much for your help.